When you want to power on the Aero1 device, remember to make sure that the activate switch is in the on position on the rear panel of the unit. Once the activate switch is on and the red indicator light is showing as lit, then you can power on the device using the power control switch on the side panel. If you are using an external power supply, then make sure that power supply is connected at the power supply socket, and make sure that the power supply light, the blue light, is showing on. If you are going to use the built-in batteries to power the unit, then you can simply switch on the power control switch. Remember, you can check the voltage of the batteries and the capacity of the batteries by using the battery check button, which is located to the left of the on-off switch. And when you press that button, the state of the battery will be shown on the voltmeter on the right-hand side of the on-off button. Note that there is a battery disconnect circuit built into the inside of the unit. So if the voltage on the internal batteries becomes too low for safe operation, then the device will not be able to be switched on, and you will need to connect the external power supply in order to recharge the batteries. And remember, again, that the device activate switch needs to be in the on position in order for the batteries to charge. Once the device is switched on, you will see that it will always power up in the stopped state, so it will not be automatically applying any pressure to the patient. The machine can operate in one of two modes, either in auto mode or in assist mode. Auto mode is a mode where the machine provides a consistent breaths per minute against a particular inspiration to expiration ratio, and it does this providing a volume of air that is set on the machine. In this mode, we measure the peak inspiration pressure, the plateau pressure, and the PEEP pressure. These measurements and settings are all shown on the left-hand screen. The right-hand screen will show you how long that particular setting has been in operation. It also shows you how long this particular BVM has been in operation in days, hours, and minutes. And it also shows you a calculation of the minute volume that will be applied to that patient given the specific breaths per minute, I/E, and volume settings that have been set for this particular patient. So this is auto mode, and currently it's showing in the stopped state. The second mode of operation is assist mode. This is where the machine will monitor for a pressure drop created when a patient tries to take a breath, and will then provide a breath to assist the patient. If the patient does not take a breath for a certain period of time, then the machine will automatically provide breath and pressure according to the settings of the machine. The display on the left shows the inspiration time. This is the amount of seconds that it will take to push the breath through to the patient. The apnea timeout is the maximum number of seconds allowed between breaths. So if the patient does not draw a breath within that apnea timeout, in this case 8 seconds, then the machine will automatically provide a breath for the patient. The volume of air is also settable and is shown on the bottom of the left-hand screen. Again, we measure the pressures on the right, showing as the peak inspiration pressure, the plateau pressure, and the PEEP pressure. The screen on the right shows again the length of time that this particular setting has been in operation and the length of time that that particular BVM has been in operation. It also shows the minute volume that has been calculated according to the settings and the trigger pressure below the PEEP pressure that will trigger a particular breath being pushed through to the patient. The smaller that number, -1, -2, for example, will require a lot lower pressure intake from the patient than, for example, -4 or -5. The device settings are changed via the adjust settings and apply settings button and dial combination shown in the bottom row. In order to access a particular setting, you choose the setting that you wish to change from the top row of buttons, which are breaths per minute, tidal volume, and ratio I to E going left to right when you are in auto mode, and our apnea timeout and inspiration time when you are in assist mode. We are currently in auto mode, so if we wish to change our breaths per minute, which are currently at 10 breaths per minute, then we press the breaths per minute button. We will be shown the menu item, and we can use the dial to change the value up or the value down. This is a multi-turn dial, so you just keep turning it left or right. So let's say I want to change it from 8 breaths per minute to 8 breaths per minute, and then I press the apply settings, and you'll see that the new breaths per minute is now showing at 8 per minute. If the device was running, you would be able to do exactly the same thing, and the new setting would be applied on the very next breath cycle that is applied by the machine. Makes no difference. You can change these settings whenever you want to. What will happen when you change the settings is the T settings timer on the top right hand side of the right hand screen will reset to 0 each time you change one of these settings. That means that any doctor or somebody who comes to have a look at the machine can automatically and quickly see for how long has the patient been running with those particular settings in place. If you happen to choose a particular setting that you want to change, and then you change your mind or realize that you've selected the wrong one, you can either leave it and it will time out, or you can press the button again and it will return and you can choose the correct one. So if we wanted to change tidal volume, for example, from 300 milliliters per breath to 400 milliliters per breath, you'll see that we automatically recalculate the minute volume each time. So the previous minute volume was 2.4 liters per minute, and with the new settings, the minute volume will be 3.4. If we wanted to operate in patient assist mode, then we can push the black button. There's a down arrow to point to assist mode, and we will change the mode of the machine. Now, if we go to change the settings, we can change the apnea trigger time. At the moment it's set to 8 seconds. If you want to make that slower, in other words, give the patient longer between breaths for themselves to take a breath, we can change it to 10 seconds. And if we wish to change the inspiration time, then we can change that in the same way. We can exit that. And obviously we can also change the tidal volume, which is the amount of air that will be provided to the patient with each breath. Tidal volume is the same setting if you're in auto mode or in assist mode. So once you are ready with your settings and you're happy that the settings are correct for what you want to use for your patient, and I'm going to put the machine back into auto mode, and just for purposes of this demonstration, then I am now in a position where I can connect the patient circuit to the machine, and I can connect the other end of that patient circuit and provide that to the patient. So having connected the patient circuits to the machine, I'm now going to run the machine in auto mode. What will happen is the alarms should trigger because there's no patient attached to the mask, so there will be no back pressure created from the patient, so I will get no inspiration pressure and no plateau pressure nor any PEEP. So in order to run the machine, I simply press the run halt button. You'll see that the red light goes off and the green light comes on. It goes bright and then dim, showing you whether it's pushing air in or waiting for the patient to exhale. You'll see immediately that the PIP, low or missing error starts indicating on the machine. It's obvious because the patient is missing. So in order to carry on with this demonstration, I am going to reset the machine, and I'm going to disable the alarms so that it will run without this. In order to clear the alarm, I push the alarm reset button, which is the same as the run halt button, and I push it again if I want to stop the machine. So if there is an alarm sounding, you first need to clear the alarm before you can stop the machine from running. The device has built-in alarms that will sound if there are issues detected with various of the pressure readings happening between the patient and the device. It is possible to turn these alarms off, but they have to be done. This has to be done when the machine is powered up, and that is only remembered for that particular session of the machine. If the machine is powered off and powered back on again, then all of the alarms are automatically re-enabled and will be activated. In order to access the menus where these alarms can be disabled, you need to hold the run halt button and then power on the device. You need to keep that finger down until the message on the left-hand side screen tells you to release that key, at which point you will see that there are various menu options. Disable all alarms. If I want to select that, I say apply settings, and I need to confirm that within 5 seconds. I then go across to menu 2, which allows me to disable only the plateau pressure alarm. If I don't wish to do that, which I won't at this point, then I can go to the third menu option, which is resetting the BVM timer, which I do whenever I replace the bag. I don't want to do that now, so I can press it again, or I can leave it for 10 seconds and it will time out, at which point the machine will carry on with its power up and continue as usual, but with the new alarm settings in place. So remember, at this point, there are no alarms that will be shown from the machine. So I'm going to keep my finger on the run halt button. I'm going to power up the device, and the machine should enter the menu mode. It tells me to release the button, and I'm going to disable all alarms. I push the apply settings, and I have to press it again within 5 seconds to confirm. I don't wish to do anything with menu 2, so I can push run halt and it'll go to menu 3. Push run halt again, it'll carry on with its power up sequence. But now there will be no alarms sounding once I start running the device. So the machine is now ready. It's still in auto mode. It remembers all the settings from the previous time. These are stored in non-volatile memory. So you'd only have to set up the machine once and it will always remember those settings until they are changed. And I can simply press the run halt button and the machine will start running. You'll notice immediately that even though the PIP plateau and PEEP pressures are low and showing a missing patient, the alarms are not sounding. So that allows me just to run the machine to test it and to get myself ready while I connect everything up for the patient. I can press the run halt button at any point in time. If it's busy with an inspiration cycle and I press halt, the machine will stop where it is and it will pull back from that point, and then it will go into idle mode, waiting for you to either change mode or to start applying pressure to the patient again. For the purposes of demonstration, I have attached an artificial lung in the place of where the patient mask would normally be attached. This is just to ensure that we get some back pressure, simulating a patient connection. So now if I press the run halt button, you immediately see that I start getting readings on my PIP and plateau and PEEP readings. It takes a couple of cycles with this artificial lung for the pressure to build, but you can see there that it's showing that the PIP is sitting around 10 centimeters water and the PEEP is currently at 4.4. The PEEP pressure on this device is set using the mechanical PEEP valve, which is on the right hand side of your screen, and that PEEP pressure is adjusted either by turning the top of the PEEP valve in or out. So now I have decreased the PEEP pressure, so on the next cycle we should see that the PEEP pressure should drop to, as you see, around 3.5. So you can manage the PEEP pressure by modulating the PEEP valve that's attached to the patient mask. If I now want to run the machine in patient assist mode, I change mode to show patient assist. The current settings will push the inspiration breath in over a 3-second period and will wait 10 seconds between breaths. So if we press the run halt, the machine will now sit and wait for the patient to take a breath. Now we're connected to an artificial lung which is not able to take a breath, so it's going to wait for that 10 seconds and then it's going to push that first breath in to what would be the patient. It's going to wait another 10 seconds and then it's going to push another breath into the patient. The trigger pressure that is shown on the right hand screen is the amount of pressure below the PEEP that will need to be detected before we trigger a breath and push it through to the patient. Obviously, if you have a low PEEP, then you need to select a lower trigger threshold. To set a lower threshold, you can go into the menus by pressing the assist mode button again, which chooses that option. I can move it up or I can move it down. I can change it down to 1.5 centimeters water and apply, and immediately you see the trigger setting or change on the right hand side screen. To demonstrate the emergency stop, I'm going to run the machine in auto mode. I'm going to run it, and if there is a problem and I need to immediately stop the machine, I can just simply go to the emergency stop button and press it, and it immediately stops the motor. It stops pressing air into the patient, and it goes into emergency stop mode. It runs a timer, so you can see for how long the machine has been stopped, and it flashes the red light, and will do that intermittently, and it will flash it at a different rate for the longer the emergency stop is still in place. In order to clear the emergency stop, simply rotate the dial to the right. The device will immediately do a power up, reset and check. You will not lose the alarms disable setting. So if you were operating with your alarm switched off, you will continue to operate with your alarm switched off, but all other settings will be reinstated, and you can continue by pressing the run halt button, and the machine will carry on operating. When you are finished using your Era 1 device, you can switch off the power using the power control switch on the side panel. If you have been using the batteries to power the unit and you now are in a position to recharge the batteries, then you can simply connect the external power supply to the power port on the side panel. Remember that to charge the batteries, you need to have the activate switch in the on position on the rear panel of the device. If you wish to pack the unit away or store it, or if you're not going to be using it for a while, then remember to deactivate the device by putting the activate switch into the off position, and make sure that the activate light is switched off at the rear of the device.